Incredible transformation. CEO discovers shocking secret in bag of girl who collapsed at work. Emily's heart raced as she stood at the edge of the conference room, her dreams of a better life for her daughter flickering like a candle in a storm. The conference table gleamed under the fluorescent lights, a sharp contrast to her anxiety. As a single mother hustling in a demanding tech startup, she battled both the clock and her fears. What if today was the day everything unraveled? What if she collapsed under the pressure? The room buzzed with anticipation when suddenly, without warning, her body betrays her. One moment, she was standing upright, the next, the world blurred, and she fell. Gasps erupted from her coworkers, chaos ensued, and the medics whisked her away. Emily's bag, heavy with Lily's love notes and vibrant drawings, lay forgotten on the floor. Silent witnesses to her fight. Mark, the affluent CEO, stood frozen as the medics hurried out. His eyes caught the colorful explosion from Emily's bag, words of affection scrawled in a child's handwriting swirling around like confetti. The stark disparity between his life and Emily's hit him hard, intensifying with every letter he read. "Dear Mommy, you're a superhero." One letter read, innocence shining through her daughter's words. What a world they lived in, a constant grind for Emily, while he reveled in privilege. A wave of determination surged through Mark. Could he really advocate for Emily? Beneath his polished surface lay a yearning to use his voice for good. But whispers of doubt surfaced, accompanied by jeers and judgment from those around him. "She's just an office worker. Why bother?" they scoffed. Mark clenched his fists. Should he cling to his status or let his empathy guide him? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As discussions raged around him, he recalled Lily's drawing, its bright colors representing dreams yet to be realized. Just then, he caught a glimpse of someone standing at the hospital entrance. It was Lily, clutching a scrunched-up piece of paper, her artwork for her mother. She looked lost, searching, her innocence pierced through the sterile hospital corridor. "Are you going to help her?" she whispered, her eyes wide and hopeful. In that moment, the stakes crystallized like crystal clear water pouring from a cup. He had the choice: rally support and ensure Emily's sacrifices weren't lost in the corporate tide, or retreat to the safety of indifference. But what would be the cost of inaction for Emily and her child? Would it be another story lost in silence, or could he transform this moment into something meaningful? Mark's heart pounded as he struggled to shift his gaze from Lily's hopeful eyes to the chaos brewing inside the hospital room. Each breath felt heavier, drenched in the weight of his own indecision. He watched as Lily's tiny fingers clutched her drawing nervously, drawing his attention back to the simplicity of a child's love. What was he doing here? Shouldn't he be the chaotic executive, worried about quarterly earnings and deadlines? Yet, here he stood, time suspended, wrestling with what it meant to care. The moment unfolded before him. Lily's innocent queries echoed in his mind. "Are you going to help her?" The question felt like a challenge. Could he truly make a difference? Resolute, Mark turned and entered the hospital. The sterile scent of antiseptic hung in the air, and the soft beeping of machines blended into a haunting soundtrack. He felt the coldness seep into his bones, but as he approached the nurse's station, he focused on the warmth of Lily's drawing, its color sizzling against the dull environment. He contacted Emily's doctor, urgency firing through his veins. "Is she going to be okay?" Mark asked, his voice steady, but deep down he felt the tremor of panic. The doctor's steady demeanor provided little reassurance, the calm professionalism a stark contrast to the turmoil within him. However, before he could lose faith, the doctor shared vital information. Emily was stabilized but needed immediate support on many fronts. Mark stepped aside, pulling out his phone. With the vibrancy of Lily's artwork pulsing in his mind, a plan began to brew. He started typing an email to the company's HR department. We need to set up a fund for Emily. We can't turn our backs on our own. Outside the room, Lily paced, her tiny feet tapping against the floor. She glanced at the door like it was a portal to another world where everything would be okay. Will Mommy be okay? I want to show her my picture. Tears threatened to spill from Mark's eyes. He knelt down to Lily's level. She'll see it soon. I promise. He reached out, gently taking the scrunched paper from her hands. Let us make sure she knows how much you love her. A sudden fire ignited in him. He envisioned an office lunch, where employees could donate, share stories, and rally around Emily and her little girl. But this would require more than just a simple email. He needed everyone on board. This couldn't just be another fleeting good deed, it had to resonate, transforming the heart of the company. Gathering everyone in the auditorium upstairs wouldn't be easy. The chatter of disbelief and resistance loomed in his mind. But deep down, he recalled the letters in Emily's bag, those bright colors, and the word superhero that sparkled with hope. Mark could be their superhero today. As he emerged from the corridor and faced the boardroom, he felt the gravity of what he was about to do. Now or never, he murmured, taking a deep breath. The meeting was moments away, and every question swirled in his head. Would they believe in this mission? Would they support Emily? With steady footsteps, he approached the podium, feeling the weight of nerves and determination merge into a singular force. I know this isn't a typical meeting, but I need you all to listen, he began, his voice stronger than he anticipated. At that moment, as faces turned towards him, he knew he was not just fighting for Emily but redefining what his role as a CEO meant. It was about connectivity, not just profits. Would their resolve hold? Or would doubt snuff out this newfound determination before it could take flight? Mark stood at the podium, the silent sea of faces watching him intently. Their skepticism hung in the air, a tangible weight pushing against the warmth of his newfound resolve. He took a breath, drawing strength from Lily's unwavering trust. I didn't come here today to talk about numbers or goals. I came to talk about something that matters more than profit, people. He scanned the room, hoping to catch a hint of belief in their eyes. Some looked puzzled, others uncertain. A few shifted in their seats, their arms crossed defensively. But deep down, he believed that a flicker of humanity lay beneath the corporate armor. I know you all have busy lives and deadlines pressing down on you, he continued, his voice steady now, emboldened. But imagine for a moment that you were in Lily's shoes. What if your mom was in the hospital? Wouldn't you want others to support you? The ripple of murmurs across the auditorium showed he was striking a chord. Mark felt a surge of determination. Emily isn't just an employee. She is a mother, a friend, a part of our team. And right now, she needs us to be more than just colleagues. We have an opportunity to be family. As he spoke, images of Lily's colorful picture filled his mind. That drawing was a testament to hope. If they could just harness that spirit, what could they achieve together? I propose we start a fund, he said. A fund to support Emily and her daughter during this incredibly difficult time. We can organize events, collect donations, and create a network of support that extends beyond the workplace. The tension in the room began to shift. Some members of his team straightened up, and he caught a few nods. The realization dawned on him that he wasn't alone. Deep down, they all wanted to help. After a moment, someone in the back stood up. Mark, this sounds great, but what if we don't have the resources? What if it doesn't work? His heart sank slightly, but he forced a smile. What if we do? He challenged gently. What if we band together and make a difference? There's power in community. We might not see immediate results, but every little gesture counts. It's about showing Emily and Lily that they're not alone. The room fell silent as his words hung heavy in the air. Mark held his breath, hoping that the collective heart of the company was starting to beat faster, to feel something more than bottom lines and commissions. Then came a voice from the left, quieter but caring. I'm in, a woman said, her tone resolute. I'll help organize a bake sale. How about a charity run, too? The spark caught fire. One by one, people began to chime in, offering suggestions and support. A plan was forming. A heartbeat of hope began to pulse through the boardroom. As the discussion buzzed around him, Mark felt tears pricking at his eyes again. This was why he had fought through years of pressure, this moment of connection. But even as excitement surged within him, a flicker of worry tugged at his mind. What if they couldn't raise enough? What if the company turned back to its old ways once the urgency of the situation faded? Pushing those doubts aside, he smiled brightly. Let us meet again next week to finalize plans. Together, we can make a difference. As the meeting wrapped up, Mark stepped down from the podium, feeling lighter than he had in months. But as he turned to face the doorway, a shadow passed over him. The doctor approached, a worried expression on his face. Mark, we need to talk. There's something about Emily's condition you need to know. Fear gripped his chest. What could it be? His heart raced as he faced the uncertainty ahead. What revelation awaited that could change everything? Mark's breath caught in his throat as he looked into the doctor's concerned eyes. The swirl of conversation around him faded away, replaced by a heavy silence that pressed down like a weight. Let us step outside, the doctor said, guiding Mark toward a quieter corridor away from the bustling boardroom. Each step felt like traversing a minefield. Whatever news awaited, it was sure to shake the foundation of everything he had just built in that meeting. Emily's condition has changed, the doctor began, his voice low, almost gentle. Mark's heart pounded louder. We need to discuss the treatment plan we had in place. It's not working as we hoped. A lump formed in Mark's throat. He struggled to find his voice amid a storm of thoughts. Would this be some cruel twist of fate? What does that mean? He managed, his hands clenched at his sides. The doctor sighed, a heavy sound filled with sympathy. We need to consider a more aggressive approach. It's risky, and we may not have a lot of time left. Time. The cruelest of all thieves. Mark felt the walls around him begin to close in. Are you saying are we out of options? Not all. There are still possibilities, but each comes with its own challenges. The doctor placed a reassuring hand on Mark's shoulder. This isn't the end of the road. It's just a difficult chapter, but Emily needs a lot of support from her community right now. He nodded, overwhelmed. Support. This word echoed in his mind like a mantra. Then we come together, he said, the words tumbling out in a rush. We have to push forward with the fund. It's more important now than ever. The doctor studied him for a moment, then nodded. That's a good idea. A community rallying together can make a significant difference, not just financially, but emotionally. Mark's pulse quickened. He pictured the room full of faces again, the people ready to step up for Emily. We just started to ignite that spark. But what if this is bigger than we imagined? He could feel a weight of responsibility settle onto his shoulders. This was bigger than him, than the office politics, or the numbers they crunched every day. This was about life, love, and the fight against circumstances beyond their control. As he returned to the boardroom, he was a man transformed. The voices surged back into focus, discussions alive with ideas for the bake sale, the charity run, and more. But now, emotion coursed through the air like electricity. He clutched onto that feeling, knowing they were gearing up for something monumental. Everyone, can I have your attention? Mark said, his voice rising above the chatter. He felt their eyes on him, every individual weighing the meaning of his words. He took a breath, steadied himself. I just spoke with Emily's doctor, and there's no easy way to say this. We're running out of time and we need to act fast. But we can't do it without every one of you. Gasps echoed through the space. I need you to dig deep and give more than you thought possible. The room fell quiet. Mark saw worry and determination reflected back at him. Emily is not just a coworker, she's part of our family. We can rally together, fund this fight, and show her that she's not alone in this. He watched the shift in their expressions. Eyes brightened with resolve, hands clenching into fists of solidarity. Just then, a voice from the corner broke through. Mark, what if we get other businesses involved? I know some local companies that might donate. That idea hung in the air like a lifeline, bright and hopeful. Yes. They could create something bigger. A movement. The room erupted with chatter again, plans forming and allies being counted. Mark felt a surge of gratitude wash over him. Together, they might just turn the tide. But as the spirit of camaraderie swelled, Mark couldn't shake a lingering fear. Could what began as a small effort truly gather enough momentum to make a difference? As the meeting wound down, Mark looked around at the people he had come to see as more than colleagues. They were now warriors standing on the brink of a fierce battle. And a battle it would be. The stakes had never felt higher. Let us mobilize for Emily and show her the love she deserves, he said, his voice filled with passion and urgency, as he dared to dream of the impossible. But even as Mark felt the hope rising, a chilling realization settled within him. This struggle was far from over. What other secrets were lurking in the shadows, waiting to be unveiled? As the meeting wrapped up, the air buzzed with fervor and purpose. Mark could see the wheels turning in the minds of his colleagues. They were hungry for action, ready to fight for their beloved Emily. Yet, in the depths of his mind, a shadow of doubt lingered. What if we could get everyone involved sooner rather than later? A woman named Lisa asked, leaning forward in her chair, every word laced with urgency. She tapped her phone screen, eyes alight with enthusiasm. It'll take a village, and I have a few contacts who could spread the word. A social media campaign, perhaps? Mark nodded, grateful for the spark in her voice. Her enthusiasm was infectious. Great idea. Let us plan a strategy session tomorrow. We need to leverage every platform we have. He watched as the team immediately sprang into action, segmenting into smaller groups. Some were drafting emails, while others were brainstorming catchy slogans. Mark felt a warmth blossom in his chest. Would they really rise to the occasion? That thought propelled him forward. Just then, Matthew, their IT guy, raised his hand. I have a few design ideas for t-shirts. If we all wear them during the charity event, it can make a bold statement. The comments flew around the room like sparks igniting a fire. That's perfect. Mark shouted above the noise. Let us all wear the shirts to show unity and love for Emily. When he stepped outside the boardroom, the weight of the world still rested on his shoulders. He pulled out his phone and stared at the unsent message to Emily. He wanted to tell her about this newfound determination, the movement that seemed to spring from the very ground they walked on. But deep down, a wave of fear washed over him. What if it wasn't enough? Mark pushed the thought aside, determined to focus on the present. As he made his way to the elevator, he ran into Kelly from HR. Her face was drawn tight, worry etched in her features. Mark, she started, fidgeting with the hem of her blouse, I heard about Emily's condition. Have you thought about how we might support her family, too? I can coordinate meals or something. Absolutely, Kelly. That's an amazing idea, Mark replied, feeling a rush of admiration for his team. Let us make sure they're taken care of, every step of the way. With each conversation, every idea tossed into the air, the fear that clung to Mark began to loosen. They would be more than a team, they were a family. As he descended the elevator, a thought crossed his mind, unsettling but persistent. What about the funding? What if we don't raise enough? What if the elevator door slid open, and Mark halted mid-thought? He spotted a group across the lobby, some employees, huddled around a desk where a large bag sat. Curiosity piqued, Mark walked over. What's going on? He asked, peering over their shoulders. We don't know, one of them replied, excitement in her voice. A girl from the building above just collapsed. They're about to take her to the hospital. Mark's heart dropped. Is she okay? Just then, a paramedic arrived, taking charge of the situation. With swift movements, he carefully unzipped the bag next to the girl. Everything inside seemed organized, notebooks, a neatly packed lunch, and something that caught Mark's eye, a picture frame. It glanced toward him, evocative of a younger time. He leaned in slightly, curiosity pulling him closer. What else is in there? As the paramedic rummaged, the girl stirred slightly, and Mark's breath caught again. The picture frame glinted under the fluorescent lights. It was a photo of Emily, laughing and vibrant. The world around him paused. How was this possible? Wait, this is Emily S., he whispered, realization dawning as his heart raced. Who is she? Answers seemed to slip away as urgency gripped the room, leaving Mark with more questions than answers. What secrets lay hidden in that bag? And how was Emily connected to a stranger in such a dire moment? Mark's heart raced in anticipation, the battle for Emily growing even more complicated. The stakes had just skyrocketed, and he wasn't sure if he was ready for what lay ahead. Mark's mind whirled as he took a step back, the cheerful image of Emily now a jarring contrast to the chaos unfolding before him. Who was this girl, and why did she carry a piece of Emily's life? The paramedic glanced at him, eyes sharp with urgency. Are you related to her? The paramedic asked, voice steady despite the tension. No, not directly, Mark stammered, mind racing. But this photo is of Emily. I work with her. The paramedic nodded, focusing back on the young girl. We need to get her to the hospital. Can you help us clear some space? Mark quickly moved aside to create a path, his gaze flickering back to the bag. Questions burned in his mind. Why would Emily's photo be here? What was going on? As they loaded the girl onto the stretcher, Mark noticed that her hair was a matted mess, and her face was pale. She looked fragile, and his heart sank even further. He felt helpless. They wheeled her past him, and he caught a glimpse of her wrist. There was a bracelet, a simple design, but one he recognized. It was the very same one Emily had worn countless times. Wait. He called out. Please, can someone tell me more about her? The paramedic paused for a moment, then shook his head. I'll get her assessed. If you know her, you'll have to make some calls. The stretcher rolled out the front doors, and Mark stood frozen, grappling with a storm of emotions. He felt the weight of the world pressing down on him again, heavier than it had moments before. He needed answers, and not just for himself, but for Emily, too. He glanced at the bag one more time, its contents teasing at answers just out of reach. He took a deep breath and moved closer, determined to dig through it. Maybe there was something inside that could connect the dots. As he pulled out notebooks, he noticed something scrawled on the first page. It was a name, Lucy. Something in him stirred. He sensed a connection, but it was so faint. He glanced over his shoulder, ensuring no one was watching, then delved deeper. The next notebook contained drawings, whimsical sketches of animals, houses, and what looked like Emily. Each drawing was filled with joy, an innocence that struck Mark right in the heart. It was hard to believe that someone with such creative spirit was in distress now. Then, he came across a folded piece of paper tucked in between the pages. With trembling fingers, he unfolded it. It was a letter addressed to Emily, thanking her for being a mentor and a friend. It spoke of Lucy's admiration for Emily's kindness and support, how she had encouraged her through tough times. Mark's heart ached. Was this girl someone Emily had helped? Had she been part of the community that cared for each other? Lucy, he murmured to himself, repeating the name as if it held a key to everything swirling in his mind. He gathered the contents back into the bag and turned on his heel, resolve igniting in his chest. He needed to act. Not just for Emily, but for this girl who had become entangled in a situation that had shocked everyone. As he made his way toward the exit, he knew he had to rally his team with this new information. Emily wasn't just in trouble, there was another life hanging in the balance now. What could he do to reach out to Lucy's family? How could he bridge the connection between Emily and this mysterious girl in such desperate need? Mark stepped out into the world beyond the office, determination hardening with each step. The fight had become personal, and he had to ensure that no one else fell through the cracks. Would he uncover the truth before it was too late? The clock was ticking, and lives were on the line. Mark pushed through the glass doors, the fresh air hitting him like a cold splash of water. He needed clarity, ideas, anything to bring him closer to the tangled threads between Lucy and Emily. As he stepped onto the bustling street, people's faces blurred into a haze, their conversations melting away. His thoughts consumed him. Who was Lucy, and what happened to her? Why was she in such a desperate situation? He took out his phone, hand shaking slightly as he dialed Emily's number. Each ring echoed like a heartbeat, but it went to voicemail. "Emily, it's Mark," he began, forcing his mind to stay focused. "Something's happened. I found Lucy. I think she needs you." But before he could finish, the call ended in a click. He needed to find Emily, but where would she be? He glanced at the notebook again, its pages filled with Lucy's innocent sketches. The vibrant scenes contrasted sharply with the reality of what had just unfolded. What if Lucy's story was something more? With Emily's help, maybe he could uncover it. With determination nudging him forward, he turned toward the community center where Emily often volunteered. As he walked, the city around him felt alive. It pulsed with energy, but within him an undercurrent of fear churned. What if he couldn't connect the dots? What if he was too late? Arriving at the center, he noticed a few people milling about outside. Mark approached a couple of volunteers, their eyes filled with concern. "Have you seen Emily?" he asked, urgency dripping from his words. One of the volunteers, an older woman with gentle eyes, shook her head. "She's not here today. She was so upset last night, came in to help with the events but left early. I think she went home." Mark's heart raced. "Thanks. Do you know if she told anyone where she might be? Maybe try her apartment?" the woman suggested hesitantly. "I know she has been going through some things." He nodded, barely listening as he hurried back to his car. Trying to stay focused, he glanced back at the notebook while stopped at a red light. There, hidden within the sketches, was another name scribbled in the corner: Maya. It felt familiar, like a whisper calling him to dig deeper. He caught his breath, feeling the weight of the moment, two names connected by Emily's kindness. Finally arriving at Emily's apartment complex, he parked and sprinted up the stairs, anxiety bubbling in his gut. He knocked on the door, heart pounding as the seconds dragged. He almost wanted to turn and run. Maybe she wasn't there. But then he heard shuffling from inside. "Who is it?" Emily's voice emerged, strained and soft. "It's Mark," he shouted, his voice more confident than he felt. "Please, Emily, we need to talk." He heard the lock click before the door opened slightly. Emily stood there, her eyes red-rimmed and shadowed from worry. She looked fragile, like a porcelain doll that might shatter at the slightest touch. "Mark?" she breathed, blinking rapidly as if trying to place him amid her chaos. "Lucy. I found her," he said, taking a step closer, eyes searching her face for a flicker of hope. "We need to help her. She needs you." Emily's expression changed, pain mixed with a flicker of determination. "Lucy? The girl with the drawings?" "Yes. She's in the hospital." "I think there's a deeper connection here," he urged, pulling the notebook from his bag. "You've helped her before. We have to piece this together. She deserves that." Emily took the notebook from him, her fingers brushing against the pages. As she flipped through the sketches, a tear fell down her cheek. "Let us go," she whispered, a trace of strength returning. "We'll figure this out together. We can't leave her alone." He watched as she drew in a deep breath, readiness mingling with pain. A flicker of hope sparked in Mark's heart. Maybe they could still save Lucy, and maybe, just maybe, they would both find healing through this journey. But as they stepped back into the world, Mark couldn't shake the feeling that they were being pulled into a mystery much larger than they ever expected. What secrets lay ahead, waiting to be uncovered? The hospital loomed ahead, its sterile facade stark against the dimming sky. As Mark and Emily hurried through the heavy glass doors, the smell of antiseptic filled the air, mixing with the anxiety clinging to their skin. Mark's heart raced, a tumult of emotion swirling within him. Would Lucy be okay? He glanced sideways at Emily. Her face was pale, but her determination shone like a beacon. Where do we go? She asked, her voice shaky yet resolute. Mark quickly scanned the reception area, a sea of strangers lost in their own worries, before spotting the sign for the information desk. Over there, he said, leading her. Each step felt like a plunge into the unknown. They approached the desk, and Mark took a deep breath before speaking. Excuse me, we're looking for a girl named Lucy. She came in recently. The nurse behind the desk peered at her computer screen. Lucy Grayson, she murmured, typing away. A moment later, she looked up, her expression softening. Room 312. She is stable, but still unconscious. Mark felt a wave of relief crash over him. Can we see her? He asked, urgency creeping back. The nurse nodded, directing them down a long hallway. The white walls felt cold, contrasting the warmth of hope igniting in his chest. As they approached room 312, Emily's hand trembled in his, her fingers intertwining tightly. They reached the door, and Mark hesitated, suddenly afraid of what they might find. But he steeled himself, remembering Lucy's drawings, her laughter. She was worth fighting for. Ready? He whispered, glancing sideways at Emily. She nodded, though doubt flickered in her eyes. Together, they pushed the door open. The flickering fluorescent lights illuminated Lucy's small frame resting on the hospital bed. And 4 drip was attached to her arm, and her face looked so peaceful, yet far too pale. Mark swallowed hard, the weight of gravity pressing down on him. Lucy, he said softly, stepping closer. It's Mark and Emily. We're here. Emily leaned in, brushing a loose strand of hair from Lucy's forehead. Come on, Lucy. You can do this, she whispered, voice cracking. Tears welled in her eyes as she bit her lip, but she shook her head, summoning strength. You have so much to tell us. They stood beside her, the silence heavy, their breaths synchronizing with the steady hum of medical machines. Then a thought crossed Mark's mind. Emily, the notebook. He pulled it from his bag, heart racing. Maybe there is something here. Maybe she left us clues. As he flipped through the pages, Emily leaned closer, her eyes darting across the sketches. Some were of fantastical worlds, but others felt darker, shrouded in shadows. This one, Emily gasped, pointing to a sketch that depicted a silhouette resembling Maya. Why would she draw this? Mark's pulse quickened. Maya. Do you think she is connected to all of this? All of her drawings? A flicker of determination ignited in Emily's eyes again. She might be trying to tell us something. We need to figure this out before it's too late. Just then, the door creaked open, and a doctor entered, clipboard in hand. He looked at the two of them, gauging their concern. I see you're with Lucy. She is stable now, but we need to talk about her condition. Mark held his breath as the doctor began to explain, but suddenly, Lucy stirred in her sleep, her eyelids fluttering, a moan escaping her lips. Lucy? Emily breathed, rushing closer, but before they could react, Lucy's eyes snapped open. Help, she mumbled, her voice barely above a whisper, and Mark's heart plummeted. What's wrong? Mark leaned forward, panic clawing at him. I remember, she said, her gaze darting around the room. The shadows in her expression deepened. Maya, she is in danger. Mark and Emily exchanged horrified glances. The mystery was growing darker than they'd imagined, and now it was intertwined with Lucy's fate. Maya? Mark repeated, urgency flooding his voice. Who is she? What's going on? As Lucy's breathing grew rapid, Emily squeezed her hand. You need to tell us, Lucy. We can help you. But you have to trust us. Lucy's eyes looked deep into theirs, as if searching for hope amidst the panic. And in that moment, Mark knew they were about to dive into the truth, with all its twists and turns, a truth that could change everything. Tell us everything, he urged, leaning closer, eager yet terrified for what she might reveal next. Lucy's breath came in short gasps, her small frame trembling under the sheets. Mark could see that the fight against whatever haunted her was taking a toll. I keep seeing her, Lucy said, her eyes wide with terror. Maya is trapped in a place filled with shadows. Emily leaned over, her voice firm yet coaxing. Where, Lucy? Where is this place? The words tumbled out in fragments. There's a house old and empty in the woods. I tried to reach her. They won't let me. I couldn't find her. Mark felt a chill creeping up his spine. Shadows? A house in the woods? They were stepping into a mystery darker than he could comprehend, and he sensed the urgency building in Emily's grip. Lucy, listen to me. We're going to help you, but you need to be strong. We can't do this without you. Lucy squeezed her eyes shut, as if shutting out the visions flooding her mind. You have to hurry. They're coming for her. I can feel it. The doctor shifted, watching their exchange closely. Lucy, you need to calm down, he said, moving closer to the bed. Your heart rate is spiking. No. You don't understand. Lucy cried, her voice breaking. If we don't save her, it's not just Maya. It's all of us. It's Lucy, please, Emily begged, tears sparkling in her eyes. You're safe. Just tell us where we can find her. Mark felt his heart break at the sight of Lucy shivering with fear, lost in a world that only she seemed to understand. But then, through the haze, something clicked. One image in the notebook stood out. Wait, the drawings. Lucy, is there a drawing of this house? Please, tell me you drew it. With a trembling hand, Lucy reached for the notebook lying beside her. The drawings, they're connected. Every one of them, they mean something. Mark guided Emily's hand and flipped the pages, searching frantically amongst the sketches. There it was, a rough sketch of a decrepit house, surrounded by twisted trees. Dark clouds loomed above it, casting shadows that seemed to clutch at the structure itself. The caption read, "Where the shadows play." He felt a surge of determination. This is it. We have to go there. There might be something that can help Lucy or Maya. The doctor cleared his throat, folding his clipboard under his arm. I don't think it's wise. Mark interrupted, frustration rising. We don't have time to be wise. She needs us. Mark, Emily said softly, grabbing his arm. We'll go. If there's even a chance. Lucy looked at them, her eyes filled with a mix of fear and hope. You'll find her, won't you? You'll save Maya? The weight of her trust pressed down on Mark. We will. I promise. As they shared a moment of unspoken understanding, the reality of their situation settled on them like a heavy fog. The darkness surrounding Maya might also swallow Lucy whole if they didn't act quickly. The doctor stepped back, recognizing the resolve in their faces. I'll arrange for Lucy to be monitored while you're gone. Stay in touch. Gratitude surged in Mark. Thank you. After a short pause, Emily placed her hand on Lucy's. Just hold on, okay? We're going to get through this together. Lucy nodded weakly. You have to hurry, please. They left the room, the sterile smell of the hospital fading behind them, replaced by the looming presence of uncertainty. Do you think we can really find Maya? Emily asked, her voice trembling with hope and dread. Mark took a deep breath, steeling himself. If Lucy can see her, then we have to trust they're waiting for us. It's the only chance we got. As they stepped out into the parking lot, darkness enveloped them, and Mark felt the shadows of the unknown stretching before them. What would they find at the house in the woods? The abandoned house seemed like a portal into another world, filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. But would they be ready for what lay ahead? Let us go find Maya, he said, determination lighting his eyes. And as they drove into the night, they couldn't shake the feeling that they were racing against time itself. The moon hung high as Mark and Emily navigated the darkened streets, tension thick in the air. Mark gripped the steering wheel, each turn of the road pulling them closer to destiny, an old, shadowy house in the woods. Every breath felt heavy with the weight of what lay ahead, and Emily's silent determination lent him strength. "Do you remember anything else, Emily?" he asked, glancing over. "Anything about Maya?" She shook her head slowly. "Just that she was special to Lucy. She felt protective over her, like they were tied together somehow." Mark nodded, heart racing. "We need to find her. If Lucy sees Maya as a sister or friend, we have to do this for both of them." The ride stretched on, the headlights slicing through the dark like a beacon of hope. Every mile was a reminder of their purpose. He could almost feel Lucy's fear and pain in the pit of his stomach, but as they drew closer, something else sparked within him, a strange courage. They wouldn't be defined by fear. This was their chance to help, to fight against whatever shadows lurked in that house. They arrived at the edge of the woods, where towering trees loomed like ancient sentinels, their twisted branches tangled in moonlight. A crumbling path led to the house, the overgrown grass gripping at their feet as they exited the car. "Are you ready?" Emily whispered, though her eyes blazed with defiance. "As ready as we'll ever be," he replied, moving ahead. With each step, the air grew thick with an eerie silence, broken only by the rustling leaves. As they approached the decrepit structure, its dilapidated walls exuded despair, windows cracked, door hanging loosely on its hinges, yet curiosity tugged them closer. Mark took a deep breath, and they stepped inside. The scent of mildew assaulted them. Dust hung in the air like memories waiting to be uncovered. He could hear his heart thumping in rhythm with Emily's anxious breaths. "Let us split up," he suggested. "If Lucy's inside, she must have clues about Maya." Trepidation danced in Emily's eyes, but she nodded. They fanned out, each shuffling through the debris, searching for signs of life or whispers of Lucy's artwork. Minutes felt like hours. Dark corners offered no comfort, shadows shifted unnaturally. Finally, as Mark pushed open a door at the end of a narrow hallway, he stumbled upon an old study. The walls were lined with peeling wallpaper, and a desk lay burdened with dust, and there, on the desk, a sketchbook caught his eye. Opening it, he gasped, drawings filled with vivid colors, scenes of play and laughter, haunting images of a girl tied in shadows. "Emily! Come here!" he shouted, urgency fueling his voice. She rushed in, her brows knitted in concern. As she saw the drawings, realization flickered in her eyes. This is Lucy's style." Mark flipped through the pages in a frenzy, until a drawing of the house leapt out. Its dark outline mirrored their surroundings perfectly. "It's as if Lucy knew," he murmured, awe creeping into his voice. "She must be drawn this to find Maya." But then a gust slammed a nearby window, rattling the air heavily. "Mark!" Emily's voice trembled. "Did you hear that?" Before he could respond, they were enveloped in darkness. The lights flickered, then died. Heart pounding, Mark grabbed Emily's hand. "Stay close," he urged, fear knocking against his ribs. Suddenly, a faint shimmering light appeared at the end of the hall, swirling like fireflies in the gloom. "Is that?" Emily breathed, eyes wide with a mix of dread and hope. "Yes," Mark whispered, moving towards the light, "it must be Maya." They approached cautiously, and just as they reached out, the light flickered violently before dissolving, leaving them in the oppressive silence once more. "We have to find a way to reach the light, to unlock whatever is holding Maya there." They turned back, and the presence of despair thickened around them, choking their breaths. But together, they pressed on, letting curiosity guide them deeper into the house's heart. "Lucy said shadows were all around," Emily said, her voice steadying. "We can't let fear take over. If we fight together, we'll find her." Just then, they came upon a closet door, slightly ajar. Mark exchanged glances with Emily, determination igniting between them. "On three?" he whispered. 1, 2, 3. They flung the door wide open, and what they discovered sent chills down their spines. Inside were Lucy's drawings piled high, a chaotic collage that spilled out, as if reaching for escape. But beneath them lay a small box, dark and mysterious. Mark picked it up, something insistent urging him to open it. Before he could, shadows emerged, swirling with chaotic energy, whispering in menacing tones. Mark felt the presence close in, but then he heard a familiar voice. Mark. Emily. Help. Lucy. They shouted in unison, anxiety threading through their hearts. And together, they opened the box. Inside shimmered a small, luminous orb. It pulsed with warmth and light, dispelling the darkness that surrounded them. Take it. We can save her. Emily cried, grasping the orb tightly in her hands. With a single glance that held everything unsaid, they stepped forward into the shadows. The orb shone brighter, illuminating the darkness. Fight it. Mark yelled, and just as the shadows lunged, the orb broke free from Emily's grip, bathing the room in a warm glow. The shadows recoiled, and in that moment, Mark felt the surge of strength humming through him. Lucy needs us. Maya needs us. Finally, the swirling darkness lost its grip, revealing a doorway hidden in the wall framed by soft light spilling around it. Through there. We can't turn back now, Emily urged. Together, they sprinted toward the light, crossing over into a realm where the impossible seemed tangible. Love, courage, and the bond of connection enveloped them, pulling them closer to their newfound friends. Mark and Emily found themselves in a meandering field under a soft, celestial sky. Laughter danced in the air, echoing like music. In the center stood Maya, perfectly alive, with a smile that illuminated the depths of the darkness they had just overcome. Thank you for coming, she said, voice delicate yet powerful. You found me. Tears of joy filled Emily's eyes as she rushed forward. We're here to protect you. You're safe now. Mark felt the warmth of resolve settle over him, grounding his chaotic thoughts. Each heartbeat synchronized with the joy surging through the air, a transformation redefined by unity and love. As laughter echoed around them, Mark knew this wasn't just an ending, but a meaningful beginning. Together, they had conquered the shadows. The realization washed over him, sometimes the fiercest battles lead to the most beautiful of connections. Together, they would heal, together they would thrive. That spirit would ripple through every corner of their life, reminding them always of their collective strength, their unwavering support, and the heart of love that unites them all. This was their journey, and it had just begun. Will you join the fight for love and connection? Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, comment your reactions and feelings about the ending, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share.